Hello, I'm Dr. Richard Coleman, and I've been a urologist for over 2 decades. Throughout my career, I've dealt with thousands of men, from their 20s to their 80s, and all of them, without exception, share a central concern: performance. But what exactly does performance mean to you? If you're here, you probably think of time, of rigidity, of raw potency, and that's where the fundamental error lies, the great misconception that has destroyed the intimacy of millions of couples. It's the misconception that causes 99% of men, even those who consider themselves satisfactory, to miserably fail at delivering what their partners truly desire and, frankly, beg for. This isn't just a lesson on physiology. It's an intervention on your male identity and the quality of your relationship. Today, I'm going to unveil the #1 technique that women truly crave, a technique that demands more than just a strong muscle. It requires a solid biological foundation and, more importantly, an unshakable mental presence. The problem isn't your body, it's your approach. You're treating the most intimate act of human life like a 100-meter dash, when it should be a marathon of deep connection. And science proves that the marathon is what truly defines female satisfaction. To understand what women desire, we must first dismantle the myth of instant gratification. The vast majority of men focus on the peak. They concentrate on speed, on arrival. They want the quick result so they can feel successful and move on. But the female body is not biologically programmed for that. While a man can reach maximum arousal in a matter of minutes, a woman operates on a broader, more complex spectrum. The female body needs time. Time for stimulation, time for connection, and time for the assurance that the man is present and not just focused on his own goal. That's why the technique I'm about to teach is so rare. It demands stamina. It requires the ability to maintain focus and firmness for extended periods, ensuring you move at her pace, not yours. Disappointment in the bedroom is rarely vocalized. Your partner won't shout or complain. She will withdraw. She will stop initiating. She will create a subtle but growing distance, on the sofa, at the dinner table, and tragically, in bed. This distance, this silence, is what truly destroys male self-esteem. You didn't just fail in a physical act. You failed to nurture the intimacy that sustains the relationship. True virility is not measured by how quickly you reach the finish line, but by your ability to remain there, on the plateau of pleasure, sustaining the experience until she is complete. The science of female satisfaction is clear. She values sustained engagement. She values the feeling of being the center of your universe during that moment. And physical sustainment, my friends, is the biological bedrock that enables that emotional delivery. If your biological foundation, your ability to maintain that firmness and control, is failing, the most advanced technique in the world will be useless. You need both. Many men ask me, "Doctor, what can I do to be better?" The answer is, shift your focus from concluding to sustaining. And to sustain, you need an internal chemistry that supports your performance. Otherwise, your mind will be willing, but your body, under pressure, will give in. And it's exactly this structural failure that leads to panic and performance anxiety. Let's dive into the 3 big myths that prevent most men from achieving this sustainment and consequently frustrate their partners. We live in a culture of instant gratification. In the bedroom, this translates into trying to get straight to the point. This is the most serious mistake. When you rush, you send a subconscious message to your partner that you're more concerned with finishing than with enjoying her. Her body registers this haste. And what does the female body truly desire? It desires the certainty that there is time. Time allows for muscle relaxation, increased blood flow, both in her region and yours, and the gradual release of trust and bonding hormones like oxytocin. The fast man is seen as selfish, even if that's not his intention. It's true that rigidity is fundamental. There's no way to perform technique #1 without a firm foundation. However, many men confuse initial rigidity with sustained rigidity. They achieve an initial erection, but under performance pressure or when trying to change pace or after a few minutes of activity, the rigidity begins to falter. It's the gradual loss of turgor, the firmness of the erection, that sends an alarm signal to the male body, causing anxiety, and to the female body, causing disinterest. She notices the fluctuation. She perceives the hesitation, and that hesitation breaks the magic. An optimized vascular system is necessary to maintain blood flow on demand, and this is where many men, especially after 40, begin to fight against their own physiology. Sorry to disappoint those obsessed with inches. Size has little relevance for deep satisfaction. What matters is the depth of connection and, once again, the sustainment of stimulation. Technique number 1 doesn't require a superhero physique. It demands control. Control over your arousal, control over your heart rate, and, crucially, control over your erectile response. If you are failing to sustain firmness or are being overcome by premature ejaculation, which is in essence a failure of neural and biological control, you are automatically excluded from practicing technique number 1. It is a requirement. The foundation of your performance is directly linked to your vascular and hormonal health. Without this base, you will attempt to apply the technique, and your body will betray you at the crucial moment. And the betrayal of the body, my friends, is what causes the greatest emotional pain and the greatest erosion of trust in the relationship. Think about the emotional cost of this failure. It's not just her orgasm that's at stake. It's your self-esteem. It's the feeling that you are diminishing in a fundamental aspect of your identity. Finally, we arrive at the core of this discussion. The technique women beg for is surprisingly simple in its philosophy, but brutally demanding in its biological execution. I call it the method of sustained pacing and presence. This technique isn't about a new position or a trick. It's about quality time and consistent delivery. Most men start at pace 8, fast and intense, and burn out quickly. Pacing requires you to start at pace 3, slow, deep, sensation-focused, and gradually increase to 7, staying there for as long as necessary. You must be able to completely stop at the peak of your own arousal, what we call the point of no return, and maintain firmness while waiting for your partner to guide you. This demands pelvic control and circulatory health that challenges most men. You are using your own arousal as a lever for her pleasure, but this only works if your biological engine is not failing. While many men are mentally calculating time or fearing the loss of erection, the man who masters technique number 1 is 100% present. He is observing her breathing, her facial expression, her tactile responses. Presence means you are acting as a conductor, not merely a performer. Her pleasure becomes your feedback. And to maintain this focus without anxiety taking over, you need an innate confidence in your body, the certainty that your erection will not fail, no matter how long the act lasts. If you are worried about losing firmness, you cannot be present. You are stuck in your head, and that is the opposite of intimacy. Understand this. Presence requires that you have resolved the problem of sustainment. You cannot focus on her if you are anxious about your own performance. Technique number 1 requires you to be able to sustain a robust and controlled erection for 15, 20, even 30 minutes if necessary. If your vascular system, nitric oxide transport, or hormonal balance are not at their peak, you will not be able to maintain pacing and presence. Your body will sabotage you. That's why pure education is not enough. Many men try breathing control tricks but fail because the biological foundation is compromised. They need a biological basis that guarantees the firmness and stamina required to execute this emotional precision. The failure to sustain is the silent killer of male confidence, and the recovery of that confidence begins with the restoration of your physical capacity. Now let's talk openly about pain. The pain I see in my office isn't physical. It's the pain of a man who feels he is failing to be the pillar of his home, the vibrant lover of his wife. It is the pain of veiled rejection. When you fail to sustain her pleasure, you don't just lose a night of intimacy, you undermine the foundation of the relationship. What happens next is a vicious cycle of anxiety and avoidance, the cycle of decline, the failure, the drop in firmness, the moment you feel your body falter, even for a brief instant. Her silence. She notices. She says nothing, but her responsiveness diminishes. She withdraws emotionally. Male guilt and shame. You feel inadequate. Your mind begins to catalog this failure. Avoidance. You start to avoid intimacy. You go to bed earlier, stay longer at work, or use fatigue as an excuse. This is a painful self-protection. Growing distance. Your partner perceives the avoidance. She interprets it as a lack of desire or disinterest, and the emotional connection breaks. This cycle is the true tragedy. Men who could have saved their relationships and restored their self-confidence if they had only addressed the underlying biological problem of their sustainment. You can be a successful CEO, an exemplary father, an athlete, but if you are constantly anxious about your bedroom performance, that failure becomes a black hole that sucks away all your confidence. You start to question your virility in every aspect of life. This is where the importance of caring for your biological architecture comes in. Nature gave us mechanisms to sustain flow and control, but modern lifestyle, stress, and the natural decline of the body conspire against us. To master sustained pacing and presence, you need a body that responds with authority. You need flow, control, and stamina that overcome anxiety. If your mind has to fight against a weakened body, you will lose the performance war. We are at the decision point. You can ignore this conversation and continue in the cycle of avoidance and anxiety, or you can choose to restore your power. Technique number 1, which is sustained pacing and presence, is not a trick. It is the pinnacle of male intimacy, and it demands a man who fully trusts his ability to sustain the act. If you are struggling to maintain that crucial firmness, if you feel that your stamina is not up to the demands of pacing, it is imperative that you strengthen your biological foundation. Don't wait for anxiety or time to solve this. They will only worsen the situation, deepening the silence and distance in your relationship. The good news, proven by modern science, is that we can optimize our bodies for performance. We can seek natural ways to support circulation, boost nitric oxide flow, and restore the vigor we had in our 20s. I have dedicated my career to finding solutions that restore virility safely and effectively. And for men who have understood the importance of sustainment and are ready to master pacing and presence, I have organized a series of specialized resources. If you are looking for a natural and scientifically backed way to strengthen this biological architecture, to ensure the flow and stamina that technique number 1 demands, the kind of stamina that ensures you stay firm until she begs you to stop, I have placed vital information and natural resources in the description link. Click now. Don't settle for being part of the 99% who fail. Don't accept the pain of distance. Restore your foundation, master the technique, and bring passion and confidence back into your relationship. Your partner, and especially your self-esteem, will thank you.